Okay, tonight I'm doing Pluto in Capricorn in the 10th house. I'm going to read through some slides and explain to you what that means for you. So if you have Pluto in Capricorn or you have Pluto in the 10th house, it'll apply to you. I've also got the previous videos through 1 to 9 that you can go back and have a look on. And let's see, we're going to go to the first slide. So what we have is that Pluto, in evolutionary astrology, it relates to the soul and the soul's underlying evolutionary desires. It is the depth of our unconsciousness and out of our awareness. We can see that we may repeat unwanted patterns or experiences in life and the same repeating life lessons. Our Pluto placement and our transit holds information that, when understood, can smooth our passage through time. Next slide. We have knowing our Pluto placement and our chart helps us to objectify and look at our life and know ourselves, self with a capital S, like the bigger part of ourselves. The transit and our solar returns and our aspects to Pluto show us what is being reborn and what is dying or stale and what needs to be changed or released. It is looking to see what needs to end to allow for rebirth and for regeneration to occur in our lives. Through life, we often, most humans do, experience a dark night of the soul at some point, and this is the door to the deeper self. Our life experiences need to be examined so any wounding or painful events can be thawed out, which allows for rebirth. And we are here to live fully with an open heart and explore the world and to transform and transmute all that holds us back. And I think we can all agree with that to some degree. So the big question is, why am I here? So at some point, all of us get to that question in our heads. You know, we might ask it early on in life, but it's only when we mature and develop that we really, you know, do look. And after a dark night of the soul, then people really go deeper into that understanding of why am I here? Now here I have two charts. I'm just going to get my spotlight here so you can see. So this chart that is a solar return. So on my birthday, 21st of May, this chart shows, a solar return shows the year ahead and the planets, where they fall, flavors the year ahead, so to speak. So I've got my North Node in Cancer in the 10th house, which is in the public eye. And I've got, for instance, you can see there my Moon in Capricorn in my 3rd house, which is, so the 3rd house is communication. So everything on a chart means something. If you're into astrology, you'll know that. But if you're not, then, you know, you wouldn't know what you were looking at. So the beauty of having your chart looked at is that you can learn a lot about yourself. So you can see my Pluto in my solar return is in my 4th house. So this is basically a change of big changes for me ahead. This year ahead. I'm only like 1 month into my solar return, another 11 months to go. And each year that changes. Then here you've got Pluto on my MC. When I was born, Pluto was conjunct Uranus on my MC. And Pluto takes 245 years to go around the chart. So you can see, if you look here, it's moved since I was born in 1966. It's moved to here, and it's in my 2nd house. So when we look at Pluto, we're looking at the natal placement, and we're looking at the transit and also any aspects to the transit. And on a solar return, it will show where that is as well. So this video can be looked at in 3 ways. You can take various views of, you know, looking at your solar return or your transit, or looking at your natal. Next slide. Here we have, I love this picture of the planets, and a natal chart represents our potential. It also represents what we have. Stacey, it represents our potential. Got it there. And it represents where we've been and where we are at and what we can become. And Pluto in our chart, it works in 3 ways. It can be cataclysmic due to resistance. So the more we resist something, the more we're causing issues for ourselves. The number 2, willing to change in some ways and resisting in others out of fear of or uncertainty. And 3, we can jump in with one's heart and soul with the desire to understand and learn and eliminate our resistance. So we have free will, and knowing this means we get to make choices. And it's important that we look at the totality of a chart. And in evolutionary astrology, the baseline is it's Pluto and the North Node and the South Node. The next slide. So now I'm going to read about Capricorn for you. And currently Pluto is in Capricorn. So what you have is Pluto here is where old cycles and phases are coming to an end. Here we need active self-reflection in order to examine all internal and outer structures and realities experienced. In contemplation, we acquire new self-knowledge. And in looking at the structures of our life, we can then begin to eliminate all that no longer applies or works. All patterns included to view will be emotions, our intellect, the physical, and our spirituality. Changes lead to new cycles. Here we can look at and see where our responsibility lies, and we have a chance to acknowledge our own actions and reactions. And this is not a time for blame, but a time for deep reflection. And growth can occur, but existing responsibilities and any obligations must be looked at. This is also a time to look at our judgments, becoming aware of our own judgments and how that reflects on how we perceive or treat others. We can release behaviors around judgments that no longer apply, and also look at our old attitudes to see where they are outdated, all that is outdated, and we can become aware of what is preventing our growth. This period of time can create feelings of emptiness and or personal meaninglessness in us. Feeling weary with life can lead us to deeply reflecting and looking at what needs to change. It is a time for deep soul searching that will allow for one's life to be restructured so new meaning can be given. So it's interesting, currently Pluto is in Capricorn for all of us in humanity. But next slide. Okay, going on. So he says, let's see here. So here we've got, sorry, so he says, so that's looking at Pluto and Capricorn. I was thinking there, what's been said on that in many videos I've watched and the learnings that I've gone through. It's a really important time for all of us. And here we want to become aware of how the past is playing out. This is a time of redefining what is old so new structures can be built. Forms and structures shape our inner and outer reality. Pluto here covers our own authority and career, and we need to ensure that our career contains potential and allows for our full expression. If work does not fulfill us, we must process and create new changes and change this. This will mean finding a new career or redefining the current one. One needs courage here. One must check in on judgment or self that are based on parental judgments or those from society. Unfair self-judgment can harm us. It is important to look at judgment eye to eye and eliminate all that which is stunting our own evolution. Some judgment is relevant, but most are outdated and useless. Here we must put ourselves into action to evolve. Here we have a total redefining, and we must eliminate all that is outdated. The positive here is a new phase is beginning. One requires perseverance, self-determination, and to step into courage, and a new life will occur. So for instance, my solar return has got Pluto in Capricorn and in the 4th house, which would also relate to Cancer, so in astrology. So the next slide. I love this. This is Uganda, and he says, mankind is engaged in an internal quest for that something else he hopes will bring him happiness, complete and unending. For those individual souls who have sought and found God, the search is over. He is that something else. So this could be inward, like, we've all got our own idea of what God is for us. Source, the universal forces, and we've each got our own understanding of that. And lastly, coming up is you've got Carl Jung, psychoanalysis. Carl Jung left us in 1961. He passed, and he did a few of his quotes that I love. He says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So Carl Jung believed in looking at our shadow work, and Pluto is part of that. The more we delve into Pluto, that we're delving into ourselves to heal our wounding, to, you know, become our best version of ourselves that we could possibly be, and evolve and become individuated as well. And he also said, what you resist not only persists, but it will grow in size. So that's worth taking on board as well, that there are things we need to deal with in life. And the more conscious we become, the more likely we are to deal with things. Resistance determines the magnitude of our problems or confrontations. And the next slide, this is my source material. It's Jeff Wolf Green, Pluto 1, Evolutionary, Journey of the Soul, and a few Carl Jung quotes there, and Uganda's quote, and some of the pictures are from Google. And if you want a chart read with me, then you can, you know, spend an hour with me. There'll be details below this video, and booking page as well. And this is my email if you want to email me if you have any questions. So I'm going to leave it there. That's it for today. And I thank you, and I hope that you really enjoyed this information. And do look at Pluto in your chart. If you don't know where it is, go to astro.com, and I'll put the link below that as well. You can get your own chart like I showed you just now on the slideshow. Okay, that's it. I'm going to come out of this now, and I'll be back next week with Aquarius. That should be good. Thanks for watching.